missing me, missing me. So drink your coffee, I made you breakfast. You're wearing my t-shirt for the last time. A revelation.
Good evening. So, cultural or field observation experience. Brock and I went to a few different places this afternoon. Clement Park. We went to the Clement Bridge, which is really adjacent to Clement Park, or Clackamas Park. And then we went to Rex Putnam High School. And first impressions of Clackamas Park was really kind of quaint. It was a nice place. I could see walking my dog, taking my animals there, and taking the family, watching little one play on the swings. It was clean. So basic overall impressions were pretty good. I was actually kind of impressed by the space, really, and the opportunities for engagement. They had a horseshoe pit that was incredible. Me and Brock were joking that it was the largest horseshoe pit in the United States, and that there are not enough players in the world, let alone the United States, to fill every pit. But it was quite impressive. Picnic tables, like I said, swings. The Willamette Clackamas River are on two different sides of it, so it's pretty impressive. Opportunities to swim, opportunities to play in the water. Overall, pretty good impressions. Lots of animals, ducks running around. I think that kind of lends itself to the purpose of it, which is, it's really multifaceted. There was a large RV park right next to it that backed up to the Clackamas River. People are out there jogging, walking their dogs. As you see in the video, there's a skate park. There wasn't a whole lot of people around, but I imagine that the skate park gets utilized by a bunch of different people. Today, in fact, there was little kids running around, but I imagine based on the location that it gets utilized a lot. I'm not so sure about the horseshoe pits though, but definitely the skate park. One of the things that I found interesting with respect to differentiation or kind of inclusion is the fact that as soon as you pull up, there are multiple signs that say no alcohol on the premises. It's a Clackamas County park, so no alcohol whatsoever. And I thought that was interesting. Kind of working from an inclusion standpoint, that you're going to lose some people based on that, and people are going to inherently break the law based on that. But just with the whole rules and regulations and trying to apply this back to a space where you can provide opportunity for everyone, it just seemed a little funny to me, and I noted it as soon as I drove in there. But it's not a big deal. Obviously, it's understood what the intent is there is to keep everybody safe, keep the space nice. I'd imagine another portion of it too is to filter out some of those that might partake late at night and do things that aren't necessarily beneficial for the park. So I'd imagine that is one particular reason for the lack of the use of alcohol anyway. There were bathrooms on there. There were not gendered. They were gendered bathrooms. There was a separate female male bathroom. There seemed to be access to. There was disability ramps, wheelchair ramps. There was handrail, so it was accessible to multiple disabilities. And the same with the high school. Obviously, we walked around there for a little while, and that was, as you know, it has to service multiple different types of people, learning abilities and disabilities, what have you. So it was very oriented towards accommodating a bunch of varieties of people. I'd actually never been there, and I didn't do a whole lot of research prior to it, but I would actually consider going back. I will not swim in the Willamette River. I don't think it's good for my skin, but I think the park was fantastic. I know the daughter would love running around chasing ducks, and it's a good opportunity to have a picnic. The weather was beautiful. Couple interesting stories that obviously I didn't know till I got there were there was actually, you see in the video, there's a memorial, and you can't look at it. You can't see it specifically on the video, but it's a memorial about someone that died in the park, which I thought was interesting. It was hard to make out even in person, so I can't go into a whole lot of detail about it. But really what I found interesting was there was two different signs, and they're represented in the video about dates and time where the Willamette River had flooded up to a certain point. And I thought that was really interesting and kind of applicable into like a math class. I thought it would be kind of interesting to figure out. I mean, you have to throw in some different variables and whatnot, but figure out the height of the river based on its current location and the distance off the bank that it is, but that the signs are now, because they're in different locations. So I thought it would be interesting and applicable in that sense. I guess while I'm on the topic about talking about applications into my endorsement area, me and Brock were talking about different ways that we could, we were walking on the track looking at the football field, looking at the baseball stadium, different ways we could accommodate or try to, work math into our space. And one of the things that we were talking about was, the bleachers and grandstands in general have a typical slope to them, and being able to have students identify what the slope of the grandstands are based on, obviously, once again, you have to introduce some variables, but trying to tie it back into my endorsement area. But as I wrap this up, overall, gosh, I thought the experience was good. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to interact with other people because it was just that time of day and there wasn't a whole lot of people around. But I mean, it was good because me and Brock got into conversations about certain things and certain dialogues. Let me go back a little bit. It was interesting, the contrast when you walk from the park kind of towards the bridge, and it's probably half mile, quarter mile walk towards the bridge, and it makes a very distinct transition between that quaint, beautiful kind of rustic park into what you would consider to be kind of dirty. And I represented it in the film because I thought it was an interesting contrast, and I think there's a uniqueness about the type of, I think you could really, kind of try to dive into why that is, and why those particular places, even so close to places that are in stark contrast to them, look the way they do. But with that being said, the experience overall was good. Thank you. Have a good evening.